Hey Cowboys Nation, let's go for another round of news from America's team. Watch until the end so you don't miss any news and sign up to stay tuned for everything that comes out about the Cowboys.
Proposed trade sees Cowboys unload $39 million veteran to Steelers. Proposed trade scenario would see the Dallas Cowboys part ways with one of their more experienced players. In a proposed trade, from Bleacher Report's Gary Davenport, the Cowboys would trade wide receiver Brandon Cooks to the Pittsburgh Steelers in exchange for a 2025 third-round draft pick. In his story about wide receivers the Steelers should keep making calls on, Davenport wrote that the Cowboys could create salary cap space for CeeDee Lamb's upcoming contract by unloading Cooks' $8 million base salary for the 2024 season. Cooks is on the verge of completing the final year of a 2-year, $39.6 million contract extension he previously signed with the Houston Texans. And while Cooks was quiet in terms of yards and catches last year, he found the end zone 8 times and has 6 1,000-yard seasons on his NFL resume, Davenport wrote on May 3rd. Best of all, Cooks would be easily the least expensive wide receiver on this list. Brandon Cooks, mentioned as most realistic option of trade targets, not only is the 30-year-old Cooks extremely affordable, Davenport actually argues that Cooks may be the most realistic option of the 6 trade targets he mentions in his article. Along with Cooks, Davenport also mentions well-known receivers such as Deebo Samuel, T. Higgins, DK Metcalf, Brandon Ayuk, and Courtland Sutton. On some level, this may be the most realistic potential trade on this list. After all, if anyone in the NFL knows what it's like to be traded, it's Dallas Cowboys wide receiver Brandon Cooks, writes Davenport. The 5'10" Cooks remains a productive receiver as he enters the 11th season of his career. He's coming off of an 8-touchdown campaign in his first season in Dallas, the second most receiving touchdowns he's caught in a single season in his career. The number of touchdowns ranked second among all Cowboys players, and he actually vastly outperformed ex-Dallas receiver Michael Gallup, who produced just 34 receptions and 418 receiving yards, to Cook's 54 receptions for 657 receiving yards. The Steelers are mentioned as a potential landing spot due to the fact that they're in the market for another starting wideout after trading Deontay Johnson to the Carolina Panthers. As reported by KOA's Benjamin Albright, the Steelers have inquired about Ayuk, Sutton, and Metcalf. They called about Ayuk and Sutton and have been rebuffed, at least with opening talks, reported Albright on Tuesday, April 30th. Called about DK, I don't believe a trade would get done there until after June 1st, if one got done at all. Why the Cowboys are unlikely to trade Brandon Cooks, while the idea of trading Cooks makes sense from a salary cap standpoint, it makes little sense from a personnel standpoint. Dallas is already thin when it comes to their wide receiver depth chart, especially following the release of Gallup. They're hoping that Jalen Tolbert can finally break out as the number 3 receiver. Furthermore, they used just one draft pick on a wide receiver in Southeast Missouri State's Ryan Flournoy during the 6th round. It's true that the Cowboys have been very cautious when it comes to spending money in free agency this offseason. This is due to planning around future contracts when it comes to not only Lamb, but also Dak Prescott and Micah Parsons. However, as much as the Steelers would love to add Cooks as an affordable number 2 option next to George Pickens, don't expect the Cowboys to bite. They need Cooks as a complementary option to Lamb for the 2024 season. Cowboys trade proposal adds 2,300-yard RB alongside Ezekiel Elliott. The Dallas Cowboys likely are not done adding to the backfield even after signing veteran running back Ezekiel Elliott for the upcoming 2024 campaign. Elliott returns to Dallas and atop the Cowboys' depth chart, on the heels of rushing for 642 yards and 3 touchdowns for the New England Patriots during the 2023 season, including starting the final 5 games. However, the Cowboys' backfield is still rather inexperienced and could use another big play threat to spell Elliott and complement his running style as a between-the-tackles bruiser. According to Ari Mirov of the 33rd team, the Miami Dolphins could make running back Jeff Wilson Jr. available either via trade or by releasing the 28-year-old ahead of the season. The Miami Dolphins drafted Tennessee RB Jalen Wright in the 4th round. Mirov points out, adding him to the mix with Devon Achane and Raheem Mostert. Miami, which is tight against the cap, would clear $1.2 million if it moved on from Jeff Wilson Jr. Through his first 7 seasons with the San Francisco 49ers and Dolphins, Wilson has rushed for 2,313 yards with 18 touchdowns while proving himself an accomplished pass catcher out of the backfield, hauling in 71 receptions for 566 yards and 5 more scores. The combination of the Dolphins loading up on speedy running backs alongside quarterback Tua Tagovailoa in the backfield and the opportunity to free up cap space could make Miami eager to move on from Wilson Jr. Likewise, Pro Football Focus points out that 5 of Wilson's 41 rushing attempts in 2023 were explosive runs of 10 yards or more. Adding Wilson's speed and competence as a receiving option out of the backfield would create a formidable and versatile backfield duo for the Cowboys. Given what the Dolphins have invested at running back and potentially looking to move on from Wilson, perhaps a late-round selection in the 2025 NFL Draft would be all it will take for the Cowboys to pry Wilson away. Potential trade: Dallas Cowboys trade, 2025 6th round pick Miami Dolphins trade. RB Jeff Wilson Jr. The Dolphins previously traded away their 6th round pick in 2025 to acquire Chase Claypool from the Chicago Bears, so this proposed deal with the Cowboys would replenish some of their draft capital next spring. In Dallas, Wilson would likely vault to the role of Elliott's primary backup and potentially even see snaps on the field together at the same time. Given Rico Dowdle's inexperience and Deuce Vaughn's underwhelming rookie season, Wilson's skill set gives him the chance to contribute meaningful snaps. Even after signing Royce Freeman, Wilson Jr. adds a different element to the Cowboys' backfield for the upcoming season. How much cap space do the Cowboys have? The Dolphins restructured Wilson Jr.'s contract recently, which could make acquiring him even more palatable for the Cowboys. In a move first reported by the Sun Sentinel, the Dolphins lowered Wilson's cap number from $3.67 million for the 2024 season to $2.375 million. Any trades or signings the Cowboys make this offseason are going to need to be cap-friendly deals, which Wilson Jr. most certainly would be. According to Spatrack, the Cowboys currently have just $4.49 million in cap space. So, if Jerry Jones and the Cowboys are looking to further upgrade the running back position after reuniting with Elliott, a trade, such as one to acquire Wilson, might be the most cap-friendly with the most upside.